What's going on, everybody? I just got back from getting a new fish that I want to show you guys because it's awesome. I'm super stoked, and I got a couple other things I want to show you. I'll see you inside.
A few moments later.
But before I show you guys the new fish, I'm actually going to show you a few other things. I'm going to show you the beta tank because we haven't had an update on that in a while, and it's looking amazing. I have a new tank that you guys might have seen some pictures of, might have heard about it if you followed me on Instagram, but YouTube has not seen this yet, and it's awesome. So here we are at the beta tank. I told you guys it's looking great. The carpet's coming back, the crypts are doing great, the beta fish is still a weirdo, and everything else is doing immaculate. Really, the only bad news about this tank is the beta fish. You can see this white spot on his lower lip. That was actually a cut, and it's not even fungused over, but it's just really scarred over. What I think happened is that he maybe went to go eat a snail, because there are tons of snails in here. I'll try to get this in focus for you. Maybe not, but there's a ton of them. So he does like to eat snails. I've seen him do it before, so I think he might have cut his lip on the snail. And since then he's just looked really old, so I'm not too sure how long this guy's going to be around. I don't know if it's just going to be a healing process and then it'll bounce back. But being a beta fish from a local big box store, you're never really too sure how old these things are anyways. Oh, and one last thing. For those of you who have been following along, I stopped running CO2 on this tank, so no CO2. You can see I took the little diffuser out. The tank's still there though. It's like full. Anyways, stopped using CO2, and I think this tank does a lot better without it. Let me know in the comments if you have any tanks that do better without CO2, even if they have like red plants or highlight plants. Now let's check out the big tank. The first thing you're gonna notice is that the glass is a little bit dirty, but that's fine because I got my Hygger cleaning tool. Tired of getting your hands wet?
Yeah!
Sick of those stupid magnetic glass scrubbers that always fall and one ends up in the middle of the aquarium?
Yeah!
The Hygger 6-in-1 is all you need.
Yay!
Now that the glass is all cleaned off, I actually decided to try to take out the divider and see how Douglas and Lewis do together. There is 3 flower horns in this tank.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
2 of which are male. There is also a female Cuban cichlid, an electric blue acara, an obliquidin, 2 red frontosas, an albino common placo, and 3 clown loaches and 1 crayfish in this tank. I'm hoping and praying, but this is probably not going to work. I'll probably have to put the divider back in, but surprisingly, Lewis, my golden base flower horn right here, is actually the aggressor. Good thing he has a lot of blood parrot DNA, and his mouth is kind of like a blood parrot's in the aspect that he can't bite. Now it's time for the new tank, and it's a terrarium. So here's the new terrarium. We got some live plants, actually a lot of live plants. We got so many cultures in here. We got isopods, we got fruit fly culture that's growing within here. They're flightless fruit flies, don't worry. And so isopods, fruit flies, springtails, and there's something else, I just can't really remember what it was. And then there's obviously the main inhabitants. We got eastern spotted newts, and these things are cool because they start off their life living fully aquatic. Oh, look at my cricket. Love my cricket, that's Jiminy. Anyways, these guys start off their life living in the water. They kind of look like an axolotl. And then they turn into this stage, which is called the red F stage, where they become fully terrestrial. We do get a few of them in here. I'm planning on going down to 2. There are 2 that are very small in here, and I love them, and they're cute, and I kind of, oh, look, right there. There's 2 about that size, and I'd like to watch as much of the life cycle as possible. But after being in this red F stage for 4 to 6 years, they turn to an olive green color with bright orange dots. I'll put up a picture right here for you. Then they go fully aquatic again. They do need something to like get out of the water for a few minutes here and there, but they live their life in the water. So for plants in here, I obviously just got some moss that I found outside. These plants here, I forget what they are exactly, but you know the bundle you can buy on Amazon that's like aquatic plant seeds? It's one of those. I think it might be love grass. I'm not sure. I can't remember. And there's also some little leaf growing right here. That some of that spread throughout. So yeah, aquatic plants, growing immersed, and it's working great. Oh, and there's some subwasser tang growing on this log as well, which I think is awesome. It's growing really well in there. So if you've been following along for a while, you would know that Douglas, my flowerhorn that I showed you, the SRD, was paired off with my super red Texas. Well, my bonsai super red Texas. She's not the reddest. Right now she's actually kind of pale because she's just getting off of her egg laying. She just laid eggs a couple of weeks ago that didn't get fertilized. And now I got a new fish that is going to fertilize those fish. He's a bit smaller, but he's still awesome. And like I said, she's not the reddest red Texas by any means. Most of the time she's pretty orange actually, but she has great pearling and an awesome personality. This fish is pretty feisty and I love it. And yes, I do still have an egg crate divider in here, even though they aren't separated. It just gives them a little bit of something to get away from each other. So here's my female red Texas. I told you she's beautiful. She has a lot of brown on her right now, and that's because of the male. It's probably her showing her willingness to want to breed right now, her interest in him. She is a Texas, and that's kind of what they do. Male Texases, especially, and the regular green Texas, a lot of their body will turn black when they're getting ready to mate, such as underneath the jaw and on the face and towards the tail, like we see here. And normally the orange on her is a lot more vivid of an orange. I consider this like a peach, but she's normally like the color of an average blood parrot. Now I never named this female Texas, and I think I want to. Actually, I want you guys to choose, but I want you to see the male first. I have a couple of names in mind. I was thinking Norbit and Rasputia, because she's a lot bigger than him. I was also thinking about Cosmo and Wanda, and you'll see why. We got a regular old male Texas. Now regular old male Texas, he's like a greenish blue color, and that's why I was saying Cosmo and Wanda, because tell me that's not Wanda, and tell me that's not Cosmo. Norbit and Rasputia, I mean, look at the size difference. That's absolutely Rasputia, and that's little old Norbit. Now this brings me to the next name, so ooh, feisty. So this goes to the other name list, and I want your opinions. I want to hear the most Texas female name and the most Texas cowboy horseback riding rodeo goat roping name for a male you can think of. So obviously, like I said, the hopes is that this guy will fertilize her eggs. She's usually good to go every 28 days, but they need to pair off a little more. He is definitely afraid of her, as you see, and rightfully so. She is like double, maybe even triple his size. And I refuse to keep these guys separated forever. Yeah, I know they're an aggressive fish, but they're like Texas's version of a sunfish or a pumpkin seed. They hang out in big groups, usually with more females than males, and they defend their little territories from other couples. Now it's a few days later, and they're doing just fine. No divider, just their rock and their laying stones. And the beta fish passed away, but we got a new one. And that's all I got for you guys for this video. If you liked the video, please just consider hitting the like button and the subscribe button to check out more content just like this. Until next time guys, peace.